happened in after the Book of Boba Fett. I remember that so clearly. And then next thing you know, I told my husband, I was like, I am ready to be a podcaster. So he said, okay, go ahead. And then that's how that was born, Keda's Black Alliance. So then I went ahead and started the Resistance Book Club, which is my booktube channel. I started that last year, the same year of my anniversary of my podcast. And at first, it was really Black Authors Corner. But then I said, no, let me change it because it just felt in my heart, in my soul, that I needed it to change to the Resistance Book Club, just for Star Wars and everybody. It's just for everybody because Star Wars is just a huge fan base of global fans of all different race and all different colors. So that's why I did it. And yeah, I really enjoy it. What better way to be in love with Star Wars than to read books about Star Wars and talk about Star Wars. So that's how my podcast came about and my channel. So
Yeah, and I like the angle you do with your Star Wars. Like you look at certain characters that aren't always necessarily like the highlights. So it's not always just Luke Skywalker or you get those or Ray. You get some of those ones where it's like
right.
you get those unique characters, right? So
Yeah.
what made you think about taking that niche specifically in Star Wars? Where'd that come from?
Because everybody needs a voice and you know clearly as a Black woman we don't ever have a voice, and so literally just taking we can go ahead and take it from Obi-Wan. you know I remember the hate train. I remember the racism that Moses Ingram had went through, and also what John Boyega had to go through, through the whole trilogy. Um, those are the moments where we as Black people need to use our platform to kind of inform other people because at in the midst of all of that, I did see white people on their own Star Wars platform going after them, and that wasn't right. And so at the end of the day, when we experience racism in those, work settings, it needs to be talked about, but we also need to rally together and know that everybody's experience is going to be different and that you, as the victim, don't always have to explain yourself to others. That's not your job. Your job is that you recognize something, you took care of the situation, and you moved on. And that's what it was. So for me, definitely anytime when I see like an underdog or whatever, I'm here for it. I love it because I'm the underdog. I'm in this big, huge Star Wars community of podcasters, and there's not a lot of Black women on their, platform. I do another podcast where there is another Black woman. Love her, Maria from Sisters with Sabers, and that definitely has been a step up. But she also talks about that too. So we have to keep supporting each other in this community because it's this big world where it's just nothing but white people. And then we're just like the little nuggets in there. We have to literally spread the word, spread the message amongst everybody.
Yeah, and to that point, how do you think about yourself as being a book content creator in this space? Just even since you're talking about being a Black content creator and specifically a Black woman content creator in the book space where it's very different, right? So you see a lot of different authors and different things and you can read all types of books. I just would love to see how do you can position yourself in the space in these different social spaces for book.
Yeah. The biggest thing I would have to say as far as like being in the booktube space, there is a lot of Black female booktubers.
Yeah.
You just got to find them. And the ones that I kind of rally behind are the ones that sets themselves differently like literally have their own particular sound, if that makes sense. So, say like we can let's do an analogy for like music. You know, when you hear Beyonce, you know, when you hear her, like she has her own particular sound. Same thing for uh like currently like Doja Cat. You know when you hear her, right? So these booktubers that literally have their own particular niche, I gravitate towards because they were meant to do this. You know what I mean? And they stuck to it and they gained the followers, like real followers that really want to sit there and watch their content. So that's what I have wanted to do. And what I also have seen is that not everybody who is a Black female booktuber, they refuse to do Star Wars. I've heard that. And I'm like, okay, no, I'm going to do it. Because to me, I don't care about numbers, I don't care about views. If it touches one person, that means I did my job.
There you go.
I'm not there to, you know, right now I'm at 99 subscribers, but that's not what this is about. Like, this is my reading journey. And I just want people to understand like where I'm coming from. I'm on my own journey. And if you want to come with me and, you know, follow me and see the books that I have read that opens my mind, blows my mind every time, or find something that didn't really agree with me, then be with me. But I'm not here for the fake. You know, I want real people who wants to watch the content, who understands that we have to be that voice for other Black authors in whatever genre that it is. And the biggest thing is that all of these authors that you all see, they have all written for Star Wars, literally. So that part will be coming up soon where I'll be, you know, reading from different authors who have written for Star Wars and then also reading their Star Wars, you know, stories. So like when y'all see that from a certain point of view and those 35 plus authors, just know you've read something from them and then, you know, also read from Star Wars. So they're all connected with each other.
Well, I love your point when you talk about, because I think this is the key, and this is why I want to talk to more book content creators and just content creators in this space. You talk about it from a sense of you create for yourself, but you create for what also needs to be there, right? These conversations that no one's necessarily having. I think those are the best. And I think when you're a creator that creates from the soul, right? Creates as an artist, you tend to put out content that is evergreen, where it continues to get views even like years later when people are like, oh, I was looking for specifically about in this case, let's say Poe from
Mhm.
Star Wars. I was looking for specifically about Boba Fett and this content that comes up years later. So I think you're in a very unique space. I'd also like to know, just because we were talking about some of your you said talked a little bit about some of your favorite things in the book space. I'd also want to know about what are some things that you'd like to change or some things that you see in the book community that you're like, I don't know about this one.
Um, like right now, I think it's still a little early. I am trying to feel it out. But one of the biggest things is I literally want to read books that other people haven't read. And I think that there are some of us, some booktubers that think just like me. We don't want to read the same thing that all of y'all have read. Those are the ones that are like overhyped, you know, overdone. We want to read something that hasn't been put to the forefront. So, like right now, I'm currently reading epic fantasy, Black female author Ashley Bellow, and she has a whole series of the Belvedere and the Four Corners, and nobody isn't talking about it. So I have to be that voice that goes ahead and talks about it. So I want my stuff to be very, very unique. Like when you come to this channel, there's going to be books that you have never heard of a
Mhm.
day in your life. And then if it gravitates towards you, then go ahead. One of the biggest things that I realized is when I went ahead and went on my TikTok, I kept trying to figure out what can I do to grab that particular audience, because also what you do see is that there is a lot of girls who read romance. I can't stand romance. Like I like y'all, but it's only for when I'm in a reading slump. But doing that, I said, well, might as well just go ahead and just show them what I've read and see if they like it. You know what I mean? So what I did was last year, I just randomly just sat down all the books that I've read. I just went ahead and just started, saying, hey, I read this book. I read this book. It was so diverse in my reading that I literally had people say to me, wow, I didn't even know this book existed. Like, thank you. Because and I've seen that a lot of people put it in there as a share or put it in there as a favorite. So when you do that, you set yourself apart from, the regular romance readers, or, however the case may be. And it's okay. Y'all can read the romance and stuff. But for me, I like my mind going in different directions. I need to keep it moving. If I want to read a Western that involves Black people, why not? If I want to read an epic fantasy with some magic realism from Black people, why not? If I want to read something that has dystopian with Black people in it, why not? You know what I mean? And then on top of that, my goal for this year is literally reading Native American Indian history and anything that, from authors that, just don't want to do the historical fiction, but just kind of wanted to do their own thing, mystery thrillers and all of that. Also too, I want to read more Pacific Islander authors because they don't get enough attention either. Asian Americans, and honey, I just got schooled on Asian and South Asians. I mean, I didn't even know. You know what I mean? Like different types of people out there. And we still have so much to go through and so much to get further in that I still feel like we're still at the beginning. You know what I mean? But I'm here, I'm still gonna do it. I'm still gonna push myself. But yeah, I'm enjoying this reading journey. I'm enjoying my Star Wars journey too. It's literally opened my eyes to like a whole huge community that I didn't even know. And on top of that, it's helped to have that conversation. Like we have to have these conversations. Like, what do we do for our people? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? What do we do for the people of color community? You
Mm.
know?
And I think that's one of the things I do appreciate about the book space is that there's so many different stories that you get to see. Like you always are on, whether it's on Bookum or whether it's on Instagram, you always just see people coming from totally different worlds saying, "Hey, this is my favorite book. I'm willing to stick a flag and say this is a 5 star. This is even a 6 star." And,
Mhm.
I'm gonna read it. So I think that what you're talking about is very unique, right? And it's how do you bring yourself to these different environments? I would love to hear just how you have evolved, like, or and how your content has evolved as a podcaster as well as just a book content creator.
The podcast literally, I mean, it changed my whole world. Like I am so blessed. It's blessed to have met so many different people. And it also opened up my eyes like, okay, what can I do to kind of change it up a little bit? You know what I mean? So when I do the TV shows and stuff, like that's me watching it in real time. I promise you, I'm watching this stuff in real time. I have no clue what it is until I'm looking at it. And then you're literally getting like raw uncensored version of it if I can get it. And I love those. Those are my favorite. Then when it comes to adding the books, I love those too because they're, again, you're not gonna love every Star Wars books. You're not gonna love every Star Wars TV show, movies, and everything. So I have to give my honest opinion. You know what I mean? Like I have to be very candid with what I say. Um, because just because y'all love it doesn't mean that I love it. And then on top of that, as a black person, not everything we're going to love if it's coming from a white person. You get what I'm saying? So if we're seeing it, y'all have to understand that I may not view it the same way as y'all do. I know I'm going to view it differently. So definitely that has opened up my mind through, the podcast area. And then as far as the um the book community, I mean, child, like I got so there was just so many books, but I promise you there's one there's one series literally I was like, yo, if I invested one more time into this author, I'm gonna cry. Is one of those, but the way that I figured to do it, because it's called the Resistance Book Club, of course I have to have Star Wars books in there. I'm very particular now as to what books that I'm gonna be reading. I don't mind reading it, but I can see that I have issues with certain white authors. And so, it's so interesting that we get into this phase where black people is like reading the content from Star Wars doesn't really land the way you think it's gonna land.
Yeah.
And then, you gotta be honest. Like I have to be honest with what I put out there. So, but overall, I love the changes that I've made. I mean, all the stuff that I pretty much learned from doing the Resistance Book Club, I pretty much am trying to turn it around a
Yeah.
little bit so that way I can engage with more of an audience. So doing this with you and also soon to be interviewing, authors myself
Cool. Cool.
and soon to be like doing books to adaptations and stuff. Like those are my goals.
Yeah.
And seriously, like I'm excited. Like I'm excited for what 2024 can bring for me for
No,
this
that's super exciting. I would also love to hear how, as a content creator in the book space, how you engage with your audience and
year.
the role your followers play in shaping your content.
So last year I went ahead and did discussion questions just as a regular videos, whatever books that I read that actually have discussion questions in the back. I went ahead and just did those videos. Come to find out, those get more views, excuse me, and apparently people actually enjoy those. And so I said, well, you know what? I'm going to change it up and I really want to engage with you guys. So I'm actually doing my very first live discussion with the book this year. So I'm very, very, very excited.
Great.
So definitely go through that. I do shorts. I'm gonna be changing up my shorts. It's just, one of the things is you're not gonna always get it right. You know what I mean? This is always like practice. You find something, it didn't work, it didn't land. Okay. Then you just gotta go back to the drawing board and just try to find something that works. So yeah, I figured to do some shorts, change it up a little bit. Um the biggest thing now is probably the TikTok is more engaging for me. Um Literally I get likes and replies all the time for
Yeah.
the books that I put out. Also to now the threads that is on, I get a lot of response with that is within the book community because it's really just for the book community. Um and the Twitter will always be there, like for me, because that has been like my Star Wars. Those are my people. I love my people. And they will literally tell me like, all right, when is this next episode coming out? You know what I mean? Like they will literally hold you to task on these episodes. So I love all the platforms. I love engaging with other people. It's the best. Like that's what you're there to do. You're there to talk to other people who share the same interests as you do. So yeah, that's how I handle it.
No, I love it, and I think there's always that play, right? So you're the content creator, you're the producer, and then figuring out what truly builds a community, what makes people buy into your podcast or your book content. And some things land, some things don't. But I think what you're saying at the beginning is that authentic self that you bring to the conversation.
Hmm.
I would love for you to. I know this is gonna be on the spot, but what is your favorite Star Wars movie?
Oh, no, it's not
Easy.
hard at all. Yeah, come on. Rogue One.
Rogue One. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
I do
no.
like that. I do like the Rogue One.
Seriously, we went this was obviously this is before my daughter was born. Like we used to go to the movies all the time. Like I literally would have to make my husband go. So Rogue One was coming out and I was like, you know we're going, right? So we get in there and I'm thinking like he ain't gonna like this movie. So we sitting here watching it and I'm just like, damn, this thing is so good. And then we get to that very end and I was like, now why couldn't Darth Vader be like this in the beginning? Like what took these people so long? And then
Right.
we get out of the theater and I promise you, like he's like, yo, like that was the best Star Wars movie I've ever seen. And mind you, I'm older, my husband is younger, so his generation is the prequels. My generation is the original trilogy. So he saw the prequels and clearly for him, it was okay because he's not really a movie fan, but he was just like, it's all right. For me, I was like, what the hell did I just watch? Like, what is this? But
Yeah.
then when you get to when you get to the sequel trilogy and you're like, damn, like prequel, you got it. Like, we'll just keep you here. Cause sequel trilogy, y'all gonna have to like scrap this whole entire trilogy. I can't. Now, as far as TV shows, Rebels all day,
Okay.
all day. After that, will have to be Clone Wars final season. I literally watch both of those back to back, and then I can watch whatever. Like Rogue One will probably come like right after. So Rebels did it for me out of everything. Rebels did it for me. So we get into this conversation,
I
we
was
ain't
gonna
never
say,
coming out.
I know, I was gonna say, I was gonna let you finish, but it's definitely Empire Strikes Back for me. I love that one.
Oh, okay, good.
Um, okay, so let's just a couple more questions. I
Yeah.
would love to hear how you balance your passion for reading with the demands of content creating. Like, how do you go about that?
Oh my God, audiobooks. Honey,
Audiobook? Okay.
listen, I'm a mom. This girl ain't letting me go. I love my daughter and everything. It's tough. It's tough. But I think in the very beginning, I was reading because she literally I have to put her down for a nap. So anytime when she was napping, anytime she was sleeping, I'm reading a book. Then I kept saying, I think I really need to get back into audio. Like there's something that's killing me. Like I'm not my focus is slowing me down in the reading. And so I went ahead and found Libby. I don't know, somebody told me about Libby. And then I said, oh, okay, well, now I got to get a library card. Well, that's even better. So then, went to the library, got my card, put everything in, and then, yeah, been on audiobooks ever since. Then I, just kind of dibble and dabble between the Audible because apparently, when it comes to Star Wars books, honey, Libby ain't got it. So I gotta go into the Audible, put it on there, and listen to the books there. Now, one of the best things that I always know is that Star Wars, when it comes to audiobooks, nah, they got it in the bag, honey. They got it in the bag. They come in with cast, they come in with the special effects, the sound effects and everything in the background. Like I literally just enjoy the Eye of Darkness because the narrator, he was doing it for me. Like the man was reading it like it was a script. You know what I mean? Like he thought he was the actor. This is him reading, and I mean, I just thoroughly enjoyed it. But yeah, no, Star Wars is where is that when it comes to the audio. As far as like the other audio books that I've listened to, it's pretty cool. I think now they're starting to get into the habit of being somewhat like Star Wars in a way. So it's they're getting there. They're literally getting there. So yeah, I that's how I handle it. And literally you just saw my whole
Yeah,
pile.
yeah, you got some books back there. I love
All
to
right. Yeah. So my pile is extensive and I just finished that 2 stacks of it. Actually three. So yeah, I'm killing it.
There we go. I would love for you as we close out to one, just give some advice to book content creators that may just trying to figure out how to make it in this space and trying to figure out what content they should put out. Two, I'd love to hear what your favorite book is or what book you'd recommend, even if it's from the Star Wars or a different book. And then lastly, I know I'm asking three on top of each other, but
Yeah.
I would love for you to tell us about future projects you're working on.
Okay. First one, child, just do it. It is just do it. I think a lot of us creators have said they all say the same thing. If you're ready to do it, just go ahead and do it. Don't even worry about it. I promise you, like the first half of the year, your videos are garbage. Like they're garbage. My first half were terrible. Like it's just terrible, but it's okay. You just keep going. The whole idea is just for you to be comfortable behind the mic, get you comfortable behind, being on camera. And also, too, it kind of helps you to be a little bit more sociable with other people. Even though you are engaging with them on camera or not on camera but through messaging or tweeting and all that other stuff but you're still engaging so it's not a miss but to get you started child just pick up your phone put the camera on and just go like just say whatever that comes to your head now I literally at like less editing I promise you I'm less editing everything that you see on my videos now, I promise you, I have not edited that much. Like you're literally getting everything as is. And that's because I don't really have the time. Like I'm literally working on time with my husband because he's the one that's working and I got to deal with whatever schedule that he has. Also favorite, you asked me favorite book. Favorite book would have to be The Adventures of Amina El Safri by Shannon Chakrabarty. So I read that during the AAPI month. And yeah, that one was so good. And I mean, if you listen to the audiobook, it was like, yo, I've they changed the way they doing these audiobooks now. The part that was funny for me in that audiobook is I was in the room and I think I was playing with my daughter. And then all of a sudden I heard like a fading, like a sound fading in the background. Somebody was talking. Come to find out that was part of the book. Like that's a part of the conversation. And then when she comes back on, it was just like, oh yeah, all right. So let's go ahead and get back into, the story. And I was like, yo, like this is good. Like, what are we
Yeah.
doing here? But it was so good. Love it. If you haven't read it, I promise you 5 stars all the way around. Star Wars book, anything Thrawn.
Thrawn, okay.
Period. Bye. Move it on. The only one that I haven't read is Heir to the Empire, and I am reading that this year. I might change my mind because I am going to be reading Darth Bane series and the Night of the Old Republic series. So let's just see how that goes. But for right now, Thrawn all day, every day. I don't even care. Um, what was oh, what am I working on? Literally what I just to piggyback off of what I said earlier, this year I am stepping my game up on my content. Mainly my podcast is going to stay the way it is because nothing needs to change. I think it's just fine just on its own. But for the Resistance Book Club, please, if you haven't gone, please subscribe, like, share the videos. I am literally going to be interviewing authors, but it'll be more like conversational. Also doing more live, and I what else did I have that I said I was gonna do? More shorts, try to get a little bit. I'm not like y'all 20-year-olds. I don't know that. I'm soon to be 40. This is not no, I don't know these little things. But there will be more shorts, there will be more engaging with the audience, with other booktubers. And yeah, that's the only thing I could think of.
Well,
That's the only
thank
thing.
I said thank you so much for
You're
again being on the Creators Talk podcast with the Bookum Show. It's been a pleasure, Keda.
Thank
And
you,
just
Kyle.
let us know where we can find you. I'll make sure to put them in the show notes as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, on the YouTube channel, just go to at the Resistance Book Club. Twitter is at KBA underscore 2022. Facebook, child, Keda's Black Alliance. And then I also have the Black Authors Corner. So I kept the original. So, I still post on there. Websites, if y'all want, same thing, Keda's Black Alliance, WordPress.com and blackauthorscorner.wordpress.com. I post everywhere. TikTok at the Resistance Book Club, Instagram at the Resistance. I don't really use it too much, but I use the TikTok a lot more. And the threads. If you're on there, find me, trust me, I'm posting. That is my community. I love those people now. You will see more. So that is it.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Have a good one.
No problem. Thank you, Kyle.